Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the limited edition Puma evoTOUCH Pros in the Birch, Peacoat, and Safety Yellow colorway. Now this is a limited edition release, not so much because of the shoe, but what's included with the shoe. So obviously in the box, you do get a pair of the shoes in the new colorway. You get this little insole wallet here with a set of insoles on the inside. Not an extra set, it's just insoles because you don't necessarily have to wear insoles with this particular shoe. You can actually wear them barefoot, which brings us on to the special edition aspect of this particular pack, if you want to call it that. And that is these not shin guard sleeves, but kind of socks that don't have a foot. What you're going to find is you do have a little stirrup here at the bottom just to help hold it in place. But basically this is a replacement for your socks because they're intending for you to wear these with the shoes without any socks. So you kind of wear them barefoot, and we'll talk about doing that a little bit later in the video because you technically can do it with the evoTOUCH Pro. But this is what you get as an extra, paying a $25 premium. Is that worth it? Not necessarily, but it depends on what you want, I suppose. So you can see it's a combination of dark navy blue and this safety yellow, kind of highlighter yellow color. You have it there at the bottom as well as with the Puma branding there on the front. And then on the back side, you're going to find that chevron pattern, which actually matches the little grip text applications that you'll find on the collar and liner area of the shoe itself. So it's kind of cool that they include this as a little extra. Again, the retail price jumps from $275 for a regular pair to $300 for this limited edition colorway that comes with the little sleeves. Is that worth it? Again, I'll let you decide that for yourself. But in today's video, nonetheless, we're going to take a closer look at this particular colorway. We're going to talk tech specs, performance, take a look at the weight of the shoe, as well as how they fit and feel on feet. So if you're interested in learning more about the very interesting Puma evoTOUCH Pro, stick around and watch the entire video. If you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, there'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description that'll take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $300 retail price. So again, if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look at the colorway. Now this is a shoe that in online pictures, it can be a little bit deceiving. Most of the pictures make this upper look white, and it's not really white. The main color is listed as Birch, which is almost kind of an eggshell tan color, if that makes any sense. I think my camera's picking it up pretty well, but in particularly bright light, it does look more white than it does kind of this off-white color. But just keep that in mind if you were planning on picking these up and we're anticipating an all-white shoe, because this really isn't white at all when you see it in person. As far as accent colors go, you're going to find this Peacoat color, which again, depending on the lighting, will look black. I personally think it looks more black, but it is actually a kind of dark navy blue. And you can see within the actual Puma form stripe, it does have a little bit of kind of like silver sparkle to it. A little bit difficult to see, but it is in fact there. You have that on both sides. Obviously, all the little arrows right here are that same dark navy blue color. Same goes for the tips of the studs. And then you have your safety neon yellow as another accent. You have it for the outline of the form stripe, the Evo knit sock that is exposed here across the top of the foot as well as at the heel. The laces are a combination of that blue and neon yellow. And then you can see the heel counter and sole plate. They're supposed to be safety yellow, but it's not the same shade of highlighter yellow as the rest of the shoe, which I just think looks a little bit off. They kind of made a bit of a mistake here in my opinion, but that's what they chose to do. And again, it just doesn't match quite the way I would like it to. So that's pretty much it as far as the colorway itself is concerned. All in all, I think it looks pretty good. I'm a big fan of the look of this shoe in general, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you like how these look? Why or why not? And with that being said, let's move on to the tech specs so we can learn a little bit more about the overall performance. From a performance standpoint, the evoTOUCH Pro is a very interesting concept that actually works quite well from a performance standpoint, and the shoe itself just has a very unique feel in general. We're going to cover all the basic tech specs in this video, but if you guys want to learn a little bit more about the overall fit, feel, and performance, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen to my playtest video where you get to see the shoes in action and again, learn more about the performance specifics of this particular shoe. So with the evoTOUCH Pro, it's the top end model in the evoTOUCH line. There's an evoTOUCH 1 model as well, which looks very similar, but it's actually quite a bit different. The Soleplate construction, despite again looking almost identical, is very different. It's not as flexible and it weighs quite a bit more. The upper is a different quality of leather, where the Pro is a lot nicer than what you get on the One, and the internal construction is a lot different on the Pro as well, where you don't necessarily have that one-piece internal, where you can wear the shoe without an insole on the One like you can on the Pro. So if you guys again want to see my video on the evoTOUCH 1, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen to that as well. So with the Pro model, you're going to get a kangaroo leather upper in combination with an EvoKnit internal sock, and that's basically what you see right here. It's literally an internal sock. And I removed the laces here on the other shoe just so you can see, but it's a sock that goes all the way through, and it goes through the forefoot and toe box area as well. So that's why they're claiming that you can wear this shoe without any socks at all. That's why they include the little kind of sleeve with a stirrup there in this limited edition pack. Have I worn the shoe without socks? I have tried it out. Do I think it's a good thing to do? Not necessarily, and I'll say this because one, if you are wearing them in a game, you're going to have to wear your team socks. So unless you want to cut the foot off of your team socks to wear these in a game without socks, again, probably not the best idea long term unless you want to continually buy socks. The second reason why I don't think it's a great idea is the smell. When you wear shoes or wear any piece of footwear, hockey skates especially, for those of you guys that play hockey, I know it's a very Canadian thing to say, but I did used to wear my skates without socks at all, and same thing if you do it with shoes. They start to smell really bad really quickly, and once you get them super smelly, it's pretty difficult to get rid of the smell, especially with a knitted material like this. Not the greatest idea smell-wise long-term, and having all that extra sweat exposure on the shoe itself is going to break things down a little bit more quickly. So from a durability standpoint, it's not necessarily the greatest idea either. And the third reason why I don't necessarily love wearing these without socks is just because you are exposing yourself to, I guess, harsher conditions on your foot itself. So if you are wearing these on a really hot day, for example, and your feet are sweating a lot, I just feel that without socks, you are at a higher risk of getting some kind of blister or some kind of wound on your foot that is sweat and friction related that you're not necessarily going to have if you're just wearing a pair of socks. So again, you can wear them without socks, but I don't necessarily think it's the greatest idea. So that's my reasoning behind all of that. Nonetheless, the upper is a thin layer of kangaroo leather that is pretty decent quality. It has a glossy finish, just like what we saw on the launch colorway. And it's, like I said, very good quality. It is kangaroo leather, so you expect that it is going to be decent, and it definitely is. And when you combine that with the layer of this EvoKnit material underneath, it does have, I guess, a little bit more of a dampened sensation than you would expect. The shoe doesn't have an overly padded feel in terms of just the leather being really, I guess, just padded in general. It has more of like a thin, flat sensation to it, and that it's soft, it's flexible, it moves with your foot, it feels like leather on your foot, but when you make contact with the ball, it doesn't necessarily have that cushion sensation from the leather itself. You do get a cushion sensation, however, from the actual EvoKnit liner, which is kind of like a thicker, almost equally as thick as the leather, very soft padded feel to it. So you get two layers of material that I guess doesn't necessarily translate to the best ball feel right away. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but once you get used to it, I really didn't have any issues with it. The touch I thought was quite good. And again, it's a nice shoe in general, but difficult to compare to anything else out there. It's leather, but it also has this internal sock system, so it's fairly unique. If what I'm describing sounds good to you, it's definitely worth a try, but kind of unique in terms of what it has on offer. Laces run through the middle, as you guys can see. And you are able to tighten the shoe pretty effectively, given that the lacing system does run fairly deep into the shoe. Moving to the top heel area, you do have somewhat of, I guess, a mid-cut design. This is something that everybody seems to be implementing. You can see the shoe itself is basically a standard low-cut shoe. All of this is just extension piece. There's no structure to it. You can, I guess, push it in like that, and that's what your low-cut evoTOUCH would look like. But they added this mainly for looks, and it doesn't really feel like anything when you're wearing it. You get used to it pretty quickly. The little pull tab on the front I actually like. This makes it pretty easy to get on, even though the opening isn't the biggest, but it's all elasticated, so that's not too big of a deal. As far as this extension piece down the back, Again, it's there as more of a looks thing as opposed to a tangible performance feature, but you don't really notice it while you're playing, so nothing too big of a deal there. And then internally, that's where things are kind of unique, not only because the entire actual lining wraps your foot like a sock, because it is basically a sock type enclosure, you're also going to find these little Grip-Tex chevrons running throughout the entire heel area as well as the entire bottom of the foot. So there is no insole out of the box. They include the extra insoles if you just want that little bit of underfoot cushioning, but you can basically wear these with the mesh liner and the Grip-Tex texturing right there without the insoles. That's how I wore it the majority of my testing, and I actually liked it. You felt a little bit more connected to the bottom of the shoe. You don't necessarily have, again, that amount of underfoot cushioning that you would get from a pair of insoles, but if you're on a decent enough field, it's not necessarily cushioning that I think you're going to miss out on. You get a more connected sensation to the shoe itself, and those Grip-Tex arrows actually do a pretty good job of actually gripping your sock or gripping your bare foot, depending on what you choose to do, pretty well, so you're not sliding around on the inside. The comfort in the heel area, despite this having kind of an interesting look, it feels fairly normal when you actually put them on. Heel lockdown is not an issue whatsoever. And again, it's a pretty comfortable shoe overall. Not too much to break in. It's more so just getting used to how they feel. Moving on to the heel counter area, you do have an external heel counter, as you can see, entirely made from what I believe is a Peacoat material, just based on how flexible it is. It continues into the sole plate itself, which is also very, very flexible, especially in the forefoot area. And then you do have this kind of raised speed track system, which is basically just a stiffener bar through the midfoot and heel, just so the entire sole plate isn't overly flexible. And then as far as the stud pattern is concerned, this is, of course, the firm ground variation, which features all conical studs. They're fairly long and pretty aggressive for conical studs, but get the job done. It reminds me a lot of what you're going to get on the Tiempo line, just in terms of the length of the studs and the overall layout and just the way the shoe feels in general when it comes to traction. No issues with it whatsoever. It's a pretty straightforward stud pattern that's well proven at this point, and again, as long as you don't dislike conical studs, you're unlikely to have any issues with this stud pattern at all. I felt that it performed just fine. In terms of weight, the evoTOUCH Pro has a nice lightweight feel on feet. So for the sake of this video, I'm gonna weigh them for you today in real time using this scale. Keep in mind that this is a brand new pair in a size 9.5 US. We're gonna throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 7.3 ounces, the equivalent of 207 grams. So again, that is comparable to pretty much all the other mid-cut-ish high-end shoes out there at the moment. They feel light on your feet, they're comfortable to wear, they fit pretty well, and like I said, the overall performance, once you get used to the feel, is quite good. It's a very unique experience, and if you're looking for a shoe that, like I said, has that lightweight feel, you will get that sensation from the evoTOUCH Pro. All right, so here is a look at the evoTOUCH Pros on feet. On my left foot, I have the stock yellow laces that come with the shoes, and on my right foot, I have a pair of neon yellow reflective SR4U replacement laces. If you're interested in a pair of replacement laces for yourself, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. You'll find a little pop-up on screen, as well as a direct link down below in the description. That'll take you right to the page, so if you're interested in a pair, be sure to go ahead and check that out. Now, in terms of how these things fit and feel on feet, you can see that I am wearing them with the included kind of stirrup sleeves that came with this limited edition pack. So I don't have any socks on. I just have something covering my ankle and my legs. Wearing these barefoot is, again, something that feels okay. It's not uncomfortable by any means, just because the entire inside liner, aside from the very bottom of your foot, is an Evo knit sock. So it doesn't feel like anything's rubbing excessively on your foot itself. On the bottom though, again, that's where you are going to have perhaps discomfort, perhaps some rubbing, perhaps some, I guess, increased risk of moisture and blistering, just because, again, there isn't any barrier between your foot and the inside of the shoe, which you otherwise would have with a pair of socks. So my preference would be to wear these with socks, but again, you can wear them barefoot if you really, really wanted to. As far as the fit is concerned, it fits quite well, actually. It's not an overly snug fitting shoe. I know that the overall shape does look like that of kind of a speed boot, where it looks like it might have a really tight fit, kind of like the Evo Speed line, but that's not really the case. It does have a higher volume feel in comparison to the Evo Speeds, where I really think these are going to be suitable for most foot types, even if you do have wider feet. And because The actual leather upper is very soft. It is going to stretch a fair bit as well, so if they feel a little bit tight at first, give them some time to break in and they'll stretch out a decent amount. What's cool about this system is that the liner is actually elasticated, so it's not going to restrict the stretch of the leather in any way at all, and it gives it a nice kind of soft, flexible feel overall, especially because the sole plate is so flexible as well. As far as width is concerned, like I mentioned, it's got some decent width. Once your foot is in there, the sock stretches out and the leather will stretch over time if need be. So width-wise, these are going to fit just about anybody. And as far as sizing is concerned, they run about a half size small, just like most Puma models do. Instead of wearing my usual size 9 US, I bumped it up to a 9.5. And the fit and the length is absolutely perfect. So if you are looking to order a pair of these for yourself, I would strongly recommend going a half size up in order to achieve the best possible fit. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Puma evoTOUCH Pros. Again, if you guys are interested in a pair of these for yourself, be sure to check out the review page on my website. You can either click the little eye in the corner of the screen, or it'll be the first link down below in the description. And on that page, you will find Buy It Now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these guys up below their normal $300 retail price. If you have any questions at all regarding this shoe, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.